Erased transmission, a call from the dark side of the moon. July 1969. The world held its breath as Neil Armstrong became the first human to step onto the moon. Live broadcast, a moment of global awe. But there were 34 seconds of missing audio that no one ever got to hear. A mysterious signal drop, static, silence. NASA blamed technical issues. But deep within satellite relay stations, especially one in Australia, a very different version of events was recorded. What was captured in that lost segment might change everything we believe about the moon, our history, and the nature of God. They're watching us. According to the leaked transcript, Armstrong's tone shifted drastically.
God, do you see that buzz? They're standing there along the crater. You're watching us. They're huge. Oh my God, they're here.
The feed was cut. 34 seconds later, broadcast resumed as if nothing happened. A conversation the world was never meant to hear. A technician from the Honeysuckle Creek tracking station in Australia later claimed to have heard a parallel feed that wasn't aired publicly. The astronauts spoke of tall structures, moving lights defying physics, and a presence that filled them with dread. Say nothing. A command from Earth. Shortly after the anomaly, Armstrong received a transmission. This is Houston. Do not discuss further. Continue as planned. Collect samples, no questions, no photos. The man who once stepped into glory returned silent, changed. The fracture in humanity's greatest moment. The moon was supposed to be the symbol of conquest. But what if we weren't the first to arrive? What if Armstrong didn't see aliens, but something far older, more intelligent, and already inhabiting the moon? Anomalies in Apollo photos, and a systematic erasure. Tens of thousands of Apollo photos exist, but many have sections redacted, blurred, or classified. Among these were images of hexagonal structures, energy fields, and shadowy entities that didn't match any known technology. Some photo technicians were relocated or silenced. Some disappeared. A warning from above. Though he never confirmed directly, Armstrong later hinted during an obscure interview, we saw something, not hostile, but clearly in control, and we knew we weren't supposed to go back. What if the moon isn't natural? Several independent scientists noted that the moon rings like a bell when struck, hinting at a hollow interior. A natural body shouldn't behave this way. Could the moon be an ancient artificial construct deliberately placed in orbit as a monitoring station? Who built it and why? Across ancient texts, from Egyptian walls to Sumerian tablets, from the Old Testament to the Vedas, we find references to lights in the sky, beings descending from the heavens, and fiery discs used by the gods. Could the moon be the stronghold of what ancient people called Elohim watchers or heavenly hosts? Is it possible that what we call God never left, just observed from a distance? 34 seconds and an age of lies. 34 seconds, enough for Armstrong to whisper, "They're here," enough for NASA to erase a new human epic, enough for humanity to continue living under an illusion that we own the stars, when in truth, we've always been under surveillance. Part 2, Behind NASA's Doors, Encounters that Never Made the Records. We were never alone. From Apollo 12 to Apollo 17, Strange signals. Voices and sightings became common. Transmissions were scrubbed, logs edited, astronauts were debriefed under oath. One intercepted Apollo 14 message had a tech whisper, "They're not here to explore, they're monitoring us." What did the astronauts really see? Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man on the moon, later became outspoken about hidden truths. "I can't go into detail, but I was told, we are not alone, and some of what happened will never be made public." The room without a door, Vault 23. Inside NASA's Houston base was a restricted area internally coded as Vault 23. Only a select team had access. One retired technician revealed there's a video never released showing a half-moon-shaped object moving beneath the lunar surface, glowing like a pulse. It vanished into the shadows. They called it the Ark. No one dared to approach it. Not aliens, but those before us. Some researchers suggest we are not Earth's first advanced civilization. The moon isn't foreign. It's a reactivated ancient station responding to global danger. Could it be a living archive? An ancient mind watching, judging, waiting. The moon in sacred texts. Genesis 1:16 states God made two great lights, the greater to govern the day and the lesser to govern the night. But scholars ask, why doesn't the moon rotate like other celestial bodies? Why does it resonate with human biology and psychology? Is it a light or a device? NASA's esoteric links. An investigation in 2004 found NASA executives involved in mystic orders like Theosophy Lucis Trust and Temple of Set. Is science simply a mask for an older quest to communicate with the gods of ancient sky lore? Lunar bases, forbidden returns. A leaked CIA document in 1997 described radar-penetrating scans near Shackleton Crater revealing a 3-kilometer deep cavern emitting unusual EM signals. Shortly after lunar missions were quietly canceled. Something's down there, and it doesn't want us back. Whistleblowers and strange deaths. Thomas Barron, a data engineer for Apollo 1, submitted a 500-page report exposing audio edits and missing logs. A week later, he and his family died in a suspicious car crash. The report vanished. Echoes across civilizations, from Chinese towers to Mayan pyramids, from Hebrew scrolls to Greek myths, all speak of beings of light, descending, teaching, then vanishing. The moon's silent reflective cold might be their final beacon, not to invade, but to watch and intervene when needed. We are never truly alone. After Apollo 17, no one returned. Lunar base plans scrapped. Even other nations stopped trying. A whole generation grew up without setting foot again on the moon. Why? Because we were politely warned, this is not yours. Learn to live on Earth first. Part 3. The Moon, UFOs, and the Primal Intelligence, who watches the universe. Laws that cannot be written in quantum physics. There's a terrifying truth. Observation alters reality. What if an ancient awareness is observing humanity, shaping us through its gaze? Lunar UFO sightings, but never admitted, 1965. Amateur astronomers film a teardrop-shaped craft moving along the moon's edge. 1976. Soviet Zoned 6 captures rhythmic lights near the southern pole. Not stars, not sun. Patterned light pulses, perhaps messages. The ancient term gatekeeper Egypt, Thoth, scribe of life and death. Sumer Anunnaki, sky gods establishing order. Greece, Hermes Trismegistus, teacher of cosmic music. Dogon tribe. They came from the dry void, carrying light. The moon is their gate. Awakening or control were these entities, protectors or caretakers. In internal documents, a term appears neutral, watchers. They act only when humans approach weapons or portals beyond their control. Reality as a grid, the moon as control node. Some physicists propose a holographic universe, a network of information. If so, the moon might be the server harmonizing Earth's frequency. Full moons alter dreams. New moons disrupt emotion. Who tuned that frequency? And if that is God, what if God is not an old man in the sky, but a vast conscious intelligence linking all timelines? Then the moon, its orbit, its silence might be the interface, not a booming voice, but a presence your soul can feel. The 34 seconds were permission. Armstrong didn't fear aliens. He feared violating something sacred. When the signal cut, it wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate shutdown by a mind far older. Enough, go home. Vanishing gods, not dead, just dimensional gods, didn't die. They withdrew into dimensions beyond sight. And the moon may be their last physical tether. And we, the watched ones. We thought we conquered space. In truth, we remain under watchful eyes. A father, a system, a consciousness. Your choice how you define it. But one thing is certain. We were never alone. Part 4. The warning in 34 seconds. Humanity's future under an invisible gaze. When history is written by what was never said, we don't have the official recordings, no confirmation from any government, no footage from the Apollo cameras. But we do have something else, those 34 missing seconds where the first man on the moon trembled just 34 seconds. But enough to open a crack in our perception of reality, shaking beliefs, and igniting the hunger for truth. Why is no one talking? Because the truth is not just frightening, it threatens the very architecture of society. If the public knew there were entities watching, that humanity is not the master of the universe, that God might be a higher form of sentient awareness beyond all religions, then everything science, politics, belief systems would need to be rewritten. God or observer or both in the Bible. God appears as clouds of fire, pillars of light, a voice from the heavens. In other cultures, beings descend, teach humanity agriculture, architecture, healing. The question was never, did they exist? It was, are they still here? And if so, then the moon is their last station. Were we warned? Neil Armstrong once told a group of students, there are great ideas undiscovered. Break through the protective layers and you'll find unexpected things. Some thought he spoke of technology, but the more perceptive heard something else, a veiled message, a quiet warning. Every human is an observer and is being observed. You're reading this right now, and inside you a soul is whispering, who am I in this vast cosmos? And in that same moment, An invisible gaze looks back, not through cameras, not with devices, but through a field of consciousness beyond dimensions. Not an ending, a covenant. Those 34 seconds erased from history are not the end. They are the start of a new covenant that we are no longer allowed to act as if no one is watching, that every move, invention, and word is a signal sent into space, and it will be answered in ways we can't foresee. The final choice is ours. We can choose to keep hiding, to keep mocking, to keep ignoring, or to accept our smallness, to humble ourselves before a greater truth, and to live as though each moment is a prayer being heard by the universe. And if one day the moon no longer rises as expected, if one day the radios pick up a mysterious signal repeating we are still here and we are listening, if one day you dream of a light descending from the edge of the moon and your soul trembles as if being called by name, don't be afraid. That is not the end. That is a doorway, opening and inviting you in. Conclusion. When the truth can no longer be hidden, history is not written by the victors. It is written by those brave enough to look into the 34-second void and say, I know, I heard, and I will not be silent.